Well, hi there, I'm Noah Bradley. This is Handmade House TV, and on this week's episode we're going to talk about making use of dead trees in the construction of your future home. What are the pros and cons? What are the considerations? We'll talk about it. Stay tuned. Well, alright, today we want to talk about dead trees. Are they a usable, valuable material source for our future home, whether or not it's a log cabin or not? And I think what motivated me in order to share this to you was that I got an email from an individual, and it sounds like they have a lot of dead trees on the property as a result of a neighbor doing some clearing work on their property. And it never fails that when we extract an area of a forest, whenever we do some clearing, whether or not it's a neighbor doing clearing or whether or not it's ourselves clearing out our house site, that we disturb a lot of things. We disturb the roots of the trees, which can injure them and cause them to die. But also we do change the wind pattern and the bracing that the trees have from each other and from the support of each other and the wind patterns associated with it. So we can end up with our neighbors can take an action or we can take an action, and we end up losing trees in the next year or two as a result of it. And it sounds like they lost some trees, and the trees would fall, and the branches would keep one end of the tree from touching the ground, and the root ball on the other end would keep the other end. So you basically would have a log suspended in the air. It's not down on the ground where it can rapidly decompose, and wondering whether or not they can make use of these for their particular log cabin. And that I can say that it all depends upon the environment that they fell, how long they've been down, and the species of the tree, and the attack of whatever insects might be going on. So there's no way that I can directly answer that question, but the way that can be determined is to go ahead and start processing it. Let's go ahead and to saw the trees up into logs and bring in a sawmill and go ahead and saw it and examine what's going on. Most likely, according to this letter, the trees have been down for a couple of years. Most likely what has occurred is probably some kind of bug infestation underneath the bark. I always encourage people that whenever they're harvesting their trees to remove that bark as fast as possible. That bark just promotes it, encourages, it gives an environment for rot, but most particularly for insects to get in there and to start eating away. I would think that most likely that bugs have moved in underneath the bark, and therefore they've moved into the sapwood, and they've started creating holes, and decomposition has started to happen in the sapwood. So it all depends upon the species of the wood. If they say they're black locust, the logs are perfect. But whereas if they're poplar or soft pine, chances are the wood's not good at all. But whereas if you have species that have a strong heartwood versus sapwood, whereas the heartwood is highly resistant to rot and the sapwood is very prone to it, such as a walnut or an oak, it's very likely that the heartwood of the wood is very good, and it has seasoned a bit because of it being dead for a couple of years. The moisture content is down. It's very likely that the heartwood would make for some valuable lumber. Chances are, after a couple of years, it's probably not good for a log cabin there. In my own particular area, it's very sad what has happened with the ash borer infestation. On my own property, I had some wonderful ash trees that were just too beautiful to cut, and literally they showed signs that ash borers came in, and within a couple of weeks' time, the trees actually started breaking and falling apart here on my property. And it didn't take but a single cut into the log to realize that those ash borers, when they attack, they just tunnel throughout the entire tree, creating holes and pathways throughout it, totally ruining the lumber that all of those trees had within them. So it's impossible to say, but I would recommend to you, if you have dead trees on your property, to at least explore the option of being able to get some good lumber out of them. Anyway, you guys take care. Look forward to seeing you here next week on Handmade House TV. Till then, bye now. Take care.